So the pot brownies, you thought I'd forget, didn't you? I called him Richard. They called him Dan or Richard. They tried their hardest to call him Richard, but they knew him as Danny for so many years of his life. I only knew him as Richard. Now I call him both. I don't think he minds. So his mother wakes up early in the morning and she sees the bag on the counter and she looks inside and she's like, oh wow, somebody brought muffins. I'm going to have a muffin. 74 years old, never taken a drug in her life. Never, ever, ever. So she eats the brownie, or the muffin. The whole thing. Now you're only supposed to eat like a half of it. She eats the whole thing. Ruh-roh is right. Pinkalicious. She gets high. And she's recounting the story to me herself, mind you, the next day. She gets high, and she goes and she lays down, and she pictures herself on a spaceship. And of course, with my background with Scientology, I'm going, oh my God, tell me about the spaceship. Are they my people? What did they tell you? As a joke. She got it. She starts to get the paranoids, and then her heart starts to race. And she thinks she's having a heart attack. So she calls 911. And the ambulances come, and the police come, and they all come. And they put her into the ambulance, and they're taking her to the hospital. And Richard is in his back bedroom, and they have a giant house. If you go to his blog at myspace.com/antpartner, you will see one of the blogs is Richard at Home, I believe is what it's called, and that's the house he grew up in. You'll see how big it is. So he's way in the other end of the house, and he all he knows is his mom's yelling, "I'm having a heart attack." He knows that the police, 911 has been called, blah, blah, blah. They put her in the back of the ambulance, and they take off, and they leave him. And he's scared and frightened, and he doesn't know what's going on, and his mom is being carted away. So with his walker and his small frame of 105 or 110 pounds and his gaunt-looking face, and he looks like a walking skeleton, he gets himself into his car and he races over to the hospital into the emergency room with every ounce of strength he had left. And he walks up to the admitting nurse and he says, "Hi." And she says, "Oh my God, we'll take you right away." He says, "Not me, I'm here for my mother." Oh, God, I love that story. "We'll take you right away." "Not me, I'm here for my mother." Isn't that funny? Sense of humor right to the end. So I'm in the hospital room, and it's one of our last chats that we will ever have together. And I sense it, and he senses it. And he says to me, I've never told the family this. He says, "I'm going to die tomorrow, and if you could call everybody and get them ready." And I tried to be as strong as possible, and I said, "Well, you're not going to die tomorrow. Don't be ridiculous. You're doing fine." And I slept in the bed with him, and I massaged him, and I caressed him, and I used to tell, I had these positive, these affirmations I used to give him. And every day I would say it, probably 100 times a day. And he never once said, "Oh, I'm sick of it, stop it." He let me do it. One of them was, "There's a great warrior that lives inside you, Richard. And right now he's in a sleepy slumber. But soon he will awake, and there will be a loud thunder and an uproarious roar, and there will be a fight. And then the light of life will be restored again." And I'd say, "You are that warrior. Just wake him up. Wake him up." And there were days that I would see the warrior. Strong days that he would eat and walk and talk and laugh. And there were other days that I would not see the warrior. And I would still give him the affirmation. Still, there's a great warrior that lives inside you. Right now he's in a sleepy slumber. But soon you will wake him, and there will be a loud thunder, an uproarious roar. And there will be a fight. And then the light of life will be restored. I was beginning to believe it. I said it so much. His breathing changed in the middle of the night. The day that we started morphine for him, because he was starting to feel some pain. And I had promised him no pain. And he asked what he should do, and I said, well, the one thing you did right is, of all the men you could have picked in the world, in Los Angeles, you picked me. That's not what I think he did right. What he did right is he picked the one guy that was a former drug addict. I said, he goes, do you think I'll be in any pain? I said, Richard, that's my department. I said, I swear to you, you will not be in any pain, because if they don't have it here at this hospital, I will get it out there for you. Whatever it takes, but you will not feel a thing. I promise you. And I don't have a fear of needles, and I don't have a fear of other things. And that was one thing I knew for sure I could give him, was that no pain. So we started the morphine, and that peaceful look came over his face. And then he stopped accepting Coca-Cola and no more water. And he sort of just we laid there and I held him and we were just at peace. Then the agonal breathing began, which is the breathing that happens just before death sort of comes over you. And that's the slow, long, deep breaths followed by some very quick breathing patterns. It's called agonal breathing. And I looked at his eyes, and those big, beautiful eyes, which I used to always say, look, I'm only doing this for my 5 minutes, because at the end of every single night, when I would stay at his house, or at the hospital, with all the chaos that was going on, and people coming and going, and visitors, and, chants, and reaffirmations, and videos from Louise Hay, and all this positive, great stuff, we would be exhausted at the end of the day, and I would lay on the couch with him, on my little tiny corner, and he would put his hands on my face. And he would say, Richard's going to be okay. He would comfort me. Right up to the end. My 5 minutes with him, every time, it was worth all of it. He'd say, why are you doing this? I said, those 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes alone with you. Alone with you. Alone. I don't mean the only two in the room. I mean he and I, same pattern. I understood, he understood. We spoke, we didn't speak, but we were with each other, and we knew it. Those 5 minutes were worth everything. Everything. And I say this because often you hear people say, oh, to have 5 more minutes with. I won't say that. I've had many 5 minutes. Good ones.